From Muffin Man to Quark Man. That's how we're rolling today. So, good day, guys. So, it's been a long time since last time. And here I am. Well rested, I have to say. And I have, I think, surpassed all my diseases. So I get a lot of questions about the two valve engines, like from 617 up to 601, 2 and 3. And I think that's fun. I think it's a very good platform to use, and I think you should use them more, actually. So what can we say? 617, a lot of people say, will my 617 grenade at 200 horsepower? No, it will not. I think a normal, I can't say normal because that's not right in English. I think a good power level on a 617 where you still keep the engine responsive, you don't have a lot of turbo lag and so on, is 250 horsepower. If you keep your 617 there, I think you will be very happy with the outcome and how the engine reacts. I think that's a very good level to be at. You can aim for more, and they are good for way more, but it makes it a little bit more difficult for you because in America you have the MW pumps, you have to source an M pump and you have to get that built, and you have to find quite a modern turbo to have it responsive at 300 horsepower or more and so on. But 250 horsepower and I think you're set. 601, 2 and 3. The problem with the 601 is that you have a very special 2.2 liter version in America and not a normal standard 2 liter as the rest of the world. So let's just leave the 601 out of the equation, or just buy a turbo one. You know, it's just gonna be better for you if you don't have a 2 liter. If you have a 2 liter, you can just follow the information for 602 and 603 because you share bore and stroke, right? So the 602 and the 603, a lot of people have 605s and 606 turbos and they buy my rods, and I'm happy for that. So there are rods out there to be bought from turbo engines, and I'm not talking about 602 and 603 turbos. I'm talking about 605 and 606 turbos, which are a better rod. So if you have a 602 or 603 turbo, these rods will just drop in. If you have a 602 or 603 non-turbo and naturally aspirated 602 or 603, you can always go to a machine shop or engine shop of some kind and have them make a new small end bushing for you. And when you have this new small end bushing in, it's not expensive, not complicated. It's quite an easy operation. They will hack 6 of these rods up in a day or two, you know. So then you will have a drop-in turbo rod for your 602 or 603 NA engine, and you can turn the power up. The 601, 2 and 3 naturally aspirated don't have piston oil squirters, but it really doesn't matter. Can you run 500 horsepower for 3 hours on the track? I wouldn't recommend it. Can you drive it as a daily driver? Yes, you can. Can you abuse it from time to time? Yes, you can. So you don't have to be worried about that. Just build your engine and be happy with it. You can of course use your 602 or 603 NA or turbo as is, but the rods are quite weak. I would say that the limit, there's of course not a limit, but where you should be, right, is maybe 250 horsepower on a 602 naturally aspirated, and some 300 or so on a 603 NA, and you will not have any issues at that power level. On a turbo you can add a little bit of power on that. You can easily run 300 on a 602 and 350 or more on a 603. The problem though that you have when you have an unopened old engine is the head gasket, because the head gaskets on these NA or turbo are organic. They don't have an MLS gasket. So it is advisable to swap head gasket for a 605 or 606 gasket that is an MLS gasket, because that will last a lot longer. Of course, now we're not talking any power levels, so it doesn't really matter. And if you like swapping head gaskets once a year, go for it. It doesn't matter. If you turn the boost up, and let's say you put your 606 or 605 turbo rods in your 602 or 603 turbo engine, and you start cranking the power up, or even put forged rods in. I mean, I have rods on the shelf that fit both the NA and the turbo without modifications, so you can just swap those in. This is just a budget thing. Like, what's your budget for this build? Can you buy 6 used 606 turbo rods for $100? I mean, go for it. I mean, it is cheap and it will work for quite a lot of power. So if you do that, if you have your turbo rods in, or you have my forged rods, you can crank your power up, and then the organic gasket will not last a day. So then you have to go MLS gasket. But on the other hand, you had your engine apart, so swapping gasket is a no-brainer. So, I mean, these engines are really good. They're cheap, and you can actually on a shoestring do some great stuff with them. And there are stroker recipes for them, so you can run your 601, 602 or 603 at 2.3 liter, 2.9 liter and 3.5 liter. I know there are 603s that are 3.5 liter, but that's not really what we're talking about. You can start off with one of those. That's absolutely fine, and you will have the crank for free. But the recipe that you can use on any 601, 2 or 3 is 2.3 liter 601 turbo crank, or a 602 direct injected 2.9 liter crank, or the 3.5 liter 603 crank in your engine. And you use in all of these 3 engine platforms, you use the 290 TDT, the 290 602 direct injected rods, right? This is important. This is the strongest factory rods Mercedes have made, and that fits these engines, right? So you put those in, and you will never ever have a rod issue. And you take 601 turbo pistons. That's important. So it's important you have the right pistons and the right rods, and you can build a really bulletproof 601, 602 or 603, 2.3, 2.9 or 3.5 liter. And you have not you have not used a single of my parts, And that's fine with me, because I want to see more 601, 2s and 3s out there. And I want to see them with 400, 500, 600 horsepower, because that's fun. And as anyone knows that likes engines, a 12 valve straight 6, the sound is just to die for. It's incredible. So I hope I can see some strokers. That would be fun. I can source used 601 turbo pistons for decent money for you, and of course rods and cranks and so on, but you absolutely don't have to buy any old junk from me. So the thing is, 617 is a really good engine, and in my opinion, stay at 250. That's a good power level for these engines. It's a 3-liter 5-cylinder engine, so it is capable. And I would like to see a 617 at around that power, 250 horsepower, with a 722.6 behind it. That would change the game, I would say. So that would be really fun. And I think it would be a really smooth experience to have something powered like that, like an old W123, for example, that is 617 standard. Right, but that's it. Build cars, build engines, combine parts in engines, and have fun. Cheers.